Perfect. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning from wherever you're joining across the world. It is our pleasure to host you again to another series of the ADC Learn and also another session where we continue to discuss about how to work at Microsoft and Microsoft ADC opportunities, how to grow your opportunities, how to identify opportunities, and all that stuff about what you want to know from a recruiter. I currently work as the lead ecosystem development at Microsoft ADC. Microsoft ADC basically is one of Microsoft's engineering sites located in Africa. And as you all know, we have we had one of the continents with the youngest population across the world. You know that we are that population that if you throw anything at us, even if we don't learn it, we would literally get it done ASAP. And it was because of these particular foundational purposes that Microsoft thought it that it was going to be good to open one of its engineering sites in Africa. We currently have it located in two places, one in Kenya, in Nairobi, and the other one in Lagos, Nigeria. We service the region. So we currently are ADC West, basically engaging the ecosystem within the West Africa section. And then we have our counterpart site in Kenya, in Nairobi, also engaging from an East Africa point of view. And what do we basically do at Microsoft ADC? We engage African talent to join us, collaborate with us, innovate with us as we build software solutions that transcend global opportunities, basically from Africa to the world, where we also have opportunities to do from Africa for Africa to the world. And we have varying degrees of people that work with us. We have people that studied computer science at their background. We have those who did not. We have self-taught people. We have different kinds of people working with us, and there are different projects that are ongoing at the ADC. And we've been around for about 3 years, and we've enjoyed working with different people, even across diversity, and basically software engineers, product designers. We have program managers or product managers. We also have non-tech roles within the ADC, and it's been very exciting for us that work here. But more importantly, which my role also covers, is the fact that we do understand that one of the things that we want to do while we are here is not just to work on the projects that we have to do, and like we also want to empower the ecosystem. We want to be able to give back. We want to be able to contribute to the growth of the ecosystem. We do not want to be the only giants here. We want to have other players. We want to enable startups. Startups are also looking for developers and technical people and non-technical people to work with them. So it is our joy, and we are glad that we're able to continue educating the ecosystem on how to collaborate with the tech ecosystem, how to either get gainfully employed, training opportunities, how to even get better at what you are doing at your place of work or even for your business and stuff like. So this is why we've done the ADC Learn series, where we spend 60 minutes of our time bi-weekly with different employees across Microsoft, spending their time out talking to you on subject matters that we think are things that are germane to the ecosystem, that germane to your growth, to how we help ourselves contribute to innovation. And to also confirm that we listen to you. When we had this first series, it was 60 minutes was not enough. At the end of 60 minutes, we kept on having questions going on, and it just wasn't enough time to conclude. So we thought it would be best to have an episode 2. And I'm hoping you're as excited as we are, because we have Teju on the call, who is also a technical recruiter at Microsoft, and she has all of the information that you need. It's a continuation from the last session with Erica. Erica is, I'm sure, is someone on the call also, so she'll also be scanning through the chats to see how she can respond to you. If you were not here for the first session, that's fine. It doesn't make you disadvantaged at all. All you need to do is pay attention. If you have questions, follow the guideline. I believe that we have a Q&A bot where you can drop your questions. Questions drop there will easily get answered, because some things may be lost in chat and transition, because a lot of other information and conversations may be going on in the chat room. So please, if you have a question, kindly use the Q&A tab. And when it is time, I would also be moderating some of the questions that we get. I don't want to take our time. I'll try to set the stage, as it were. But I look forward to a session where what would be our own key takeaways. We want people to be enabled when it comes to career opportunities. We want people to know what the industry needs. There's too much talk about how the universities do not teach what the industry needs, but people also go out there, get information on their own, but they are probably misguided. So we want to hope that at the end of the day, you have the right information that you need to either join us or another tech organization like us to help you even get better in the job opportunities or the ones that you currently have or your entrepreneurial line, and to also help get you more confidence about the fact that you don't need to know anybody or be connected or super, I don't know, to get a job at Microsoft and the likes. So again, let me welcome you to this call. Please remind your friends, remind your colleagues that they were supposed to be on this call. Let's have more people dialing, and I will drop my pen with love. Is that the way they say it? I can't remember. Or something like that. I will drop it with love right now. Thank you, everyone. And I would like to welcome Tejumade for the session today.
Hmm. Good day, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's evening my time, so I'll say good afternoon. Please, can anybody confirm that they can hear me well? Okay, great. I'm Tejumade Olani. Like Babatunde already said, I'm a tech recruiter. I'm part of the global talent acquisition team for EMEA Engineering, that's Europe, Middle East, and Africa. I'm Nigerian. I'm female. I'm trying to introduce myself in the ability way. Please promote me if I don't do a fantastic job, right? I'm still learning. I'm dark skinned. Um, I'm on. I'm wearing a pair of glasses with a gray shirt, top, shirt, hackathon shirt, and a pair of blue jeans. Right? I think I tried. A round of applause for myself. um, so I'm a recruiter. I'm primarily stationed in Nigeria. I'm Nigerian. However, the span or the scope of my work is across the EMEA region. That's Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And what I really do is recruit tech talents like yourself into our development centers, Microsoft ADC West. That's Nigeria, right? Today I'll be speaking about I'll be shedding more light on how to build practical skills for that would position you for job opportunities in Nigeria in not in Nigeria, in the tech ecosystem, globally, locally, etc. Just a bit of recap, right? My colleague Erica in the last series, about some weeks ago, spoke about our recruitment process, what we really look out for, and also shared some really good, insightful tips on how to interview with us. And that is the bedrock, the foundation for a lot of our learning series, especially the Meet the Recruiter. So the first episode was pretty much to lay a very strong foundation on what to expect. The second, third, and other episodes or series would be expatiating on some of the things that she has touched. So today, I would be talking about, like I said earlier, I'll be talking about how to build core skills that we're looking out for. So I know that we've been talking a lot about data structures, design, etc. Like we've been telling you, these are the things that we're looking out for. So today is taking a deeper dive on how can you really, really build the skills to position yourself for employment opportunities in the ecosystem, whether in Microsoft, whether in another big tech, or whether it's in a local or an international startup, but positioning yourselves for very good opportunities, right? So what are the learning objectives? At the end of this call, I would say top of good. I'll say that I have done a good job if you guys can have better clarity on how to build your skills. Like, so we're taking it from, oh, you've learned theory. So this is how you apply your theory to get the practical experience that companies like Microsoft is looking to hire you for. So learning objectives would be to give you all more clarity on how to build practical skills for great job opportunities in the tech ecosystem, and also to create a great profile and sell yourself via CV. We cannot underestimate the power of your resume, right? Your resume is definitely the first point of contact, online profile that your recruiter gets to meet, right? Before they get to even speak with you. So I'll be sharing insightful ways, tips on how to build your resume to sell you well. I know Erica touched a bit about it, but it's something that we have to continuously talk about to drive it home. So skills that employers are looking out for. So for the sake of this call, I'll be focusing majorly on software engineering, right? People with software engineering background, majorly software engineers. However, in our subsequent classes, or let's say series, we'll be exploring we will be exploring some other roles like product management, design, etc. But for this sake, right, it will be core software engineers. So I'd say that education is very important, right? Your education skill, like having like a very solid educational background in whether it's in computer science, machine learning, or mathematics, physics are very important. But what I would say the most important thing for you to learn, for you to have, is the technical skills needed for a job. Like I say Shifumi or Babatunde mentioned earlier, we have engineers that are self-taught. Like I have hired somebody that came from a banking background. This is a core software engineering role in Microsoft. Like it happens, right? This is just to explain that as fantastic as education is, there's still some other things. There's still more icing on the cake that employers like Microsoft, employers like the big tech companies, or even startups are to looking for looking for candidates or incoming hires to have. And these are what technical skills and your soft skills. And I'll be talking a bit more about how to build these technical skills, right? Some of these technical skills, especially for software engineers, are algorithms, data structures, system design, code quality, etc. And I'm sure a bunch of you already have a good idea of what these skills are about, whether it's taught in school or you're in a boot camp or you're already even learning a lot of this in on YouTube or etc. I'm sure that a bunch of you have good theoretical knowledge. So this call is going to shed more light on how you can build the practical skills, like taking it from theory, taking it one step further to practical, you can build it and get yourself prepared for opportunities. Some of the other skills, like which is equally as important as technical skills, are the soft skills. And these are collaboration, communication, adaptability, organizational skills, growth mindset, etc. And I'll be speaking very quickly about it too in the other slides. So there are different ways that you can build practical skills, right? And I would tell you that these ways, this these things I'm going to be talking about are tested and trusted. I have hired people that started their careers this way, that can even testify on how they started building their software engineering skills and how that was able to land them into companies like Microsoft. I will not say this is an exhaustive list. It's very okay for you to still do your research, but these are like practical top level, like top of mind that I would be able to that I will share with you on this call, right? And I hope that after this call, it can take you from step B to about maybe it's this from level B to maybe even the level M on how to really build skills to show clarity, right? One of the things that we look out for, like I would say that it's very helpful in building algorithm skills is competitive programming, right? And algorithm skills are pretty much some of the technical skills that developers use on the day to day. And competitive programming pretty much is like a context design, like a contest designed to test your mathematical, logical algorithms and data structure skills, right? What are the benefits of competitive programming? Number one is that it prepares you for opportunities with the big tech companies. No matter how solid of an engineer that you are, right? No matter how much projects that you've built, if you want to land a job in a big tech company, your algorithm skills, your data structure skills has to be solid. Like, because the interview processes are designed to test that. And one way that you can start to gain these skills or start to fine tune these skills is through competitive programming. And there are a bunch of them online. This is just the few ones on my slide is just a very minute number. There are a bunch of them online. After the interview, after this call, you can go on Bing. I'll say Bing because we own Bing, right? You can go on Bing and check it out, right? Some of this competitive some of the websites that are into competitive programming are LeetCode, Code Chef, Hakarang, Code Forces, Hacker Earth. What do? They provide you with practical examples, algorithm problems that you can solve, and you are timed. Some of these websites also even do organized contests whereby, like, if you're like first of your class, if you are like first, second, third, in position to this in some of this contests, right? You could even get prizes, right? So it is a very, very good um, way to build your algorithm skills. No matter how much projects or how much products that you have built or you claim to build, if your programming skills, your CS fundamental skills are not solid, you cannot land a job here in Microsoft as a software engineer, because the interview processes are designed like that. And it's not just Microsoft, it's big tech. It's not just big tech, it's even very large, whether medium sized, small sized startup companies that are core into software engineering. A lot of them use um, this system, right? Because I'm pretty sure that algorithms and data structures are designed in a way to help the efficiency of their code. So they need to know that you can write very good code, and that is how they test it is through algorithm and data structures questions. And of course, competitive programming prepares you for that. After this call, please go online and try a lot of these things. Um, I've met early in careers engineers, right? Software engineers that are just studying, or even some experienced engineers that are studying that complain about it. Like, why do they have to do it? Right. The truth is, it is as important as you even building product, because, right, the efficiency of your code is very hell bent on how well you can write your code, and algorithms, data structures help you test for that, help you improve your problem solving skills, and competitive programming sites ramp you up for opportunities like that. So that's a very practical way. I've hired people that, apart from the learnings on maybe on their CV, they've learned Python, they've learned C++, but they don't have, or they probably haven't got core job experience, right? But of course, I see something like, oh, they've gone through like a competitive, like a competitive programming course, or they've done like a competition and they scored like 10, like they're probably in their first 10, right? And because of that, right, they have landed um um a call with me. Based off of that, apart from the theoretical skills that they know, because of this competitive programming that is shown on their CV that they've landed a call with me. I send them tests, they pass, and that pretty much takes them to the next level for a lot of entry level or internship roles. So I cannot underestimate the power of competitive programming. For developers that don't like it, I'll say it's better for you to start to ramp up, right? Especially when it's your dream to get to to get into one of these big tech companies, right? Apart from competitive programming, it's hackathons. I personally love hackathons because it's not just for software engineers, it's for pretty much anybody coming together to build a project. That's what hackathons are about. Some weeks ago, we had like an internal hackathon program, and I was on a team that I pretty much worked as a PM. I'm not a PM. Like, my skill is in recruiting, but because of this hackathon program, I was able to build PM skills. It might not be as solid as the core technical PMs that we have in Microsoft, like, but it's a step further in me learning a new skill. So if I want to take it one step further, all I need to do is just continue working on projects and learning new things, and I could transition into a PM. So what are hackathons? Right? Hackathon events are designed for people to come together to solve a problem, to solve a problem using technology, to work on on projects. A lot of great business ideas have come from hackathons, right? A lot of businesses that you see that are or products that are making great money, like that are bringing in, grossing millions of dollars. Some of the ideas came from hackathons. So you cannot underestimate hackathons, right? And there are a bunch of hackathon sites, right, with their different eligibility criteria, right? I think in Nigeria, we had something like the Nigeria Acts, but I'm not sure how visible they are anymore. But there's a bunch of sites that you can go on there to read about or learn about hackathons or to even be part of the hackathon program. Some sites are hackathon.com, dev post, etc. Just go online, bing it, watch videos about it, and it could just take you a step further from the theoretical things that you've learned to a bit of practical. So the good thing about hackathons is that it's not just for software engineers. You see researchers join hackathon, especially when you're working on some sort of big problem or even little problem that could solve the world, that could help um, solve the world's problem. Recruiters work on hackathons, designers work on hackathons, PMs like Shefumi and Babati, they work on hackathons projects, right? So it's pretty much a good practical skill that a good practical way that you can learn, that you can use to learn skills. I have seen people use hackathons to land their first jobs or their first internships. So it's not a thing of, oh, maybe this is theoretical. This is, I've seen it happen. I know people that have gotten their jobs or they've landed their first job as a result of them working in hackathons. In fact, a lot of organizations have this thing whereby when they organize hackathons, the top three groups probably work on a major project in house and they get internships and even or probably full-time jobs, right? People get jobs through hackathons, right? You build skills through hackathons too. And hackathons doesn't just help your technical skills, it also helps your soft skills, right? Soft skills, which I'll be talking very quickly alongside technical skills, are skills that are not necessarily on the job. Like it's not what makes you perform on the job, but it helps you. It really helps you perform on the, like it's not what the technical skills that you need on the job, right? But it supports your performance. It sets you up for success on the team or on the job that you're working on. Some of the soft skills are communication, collaboration, and some of these ways help you build soft skills too. Because when you are working, for example, like competitive programming, where sometimes you might not work with people. It's you doing the coding challenge, right? Except if it's a peer programming session, right? But for hackathons, you get to work with people. And because you work with people, right, you're building collaborative skills. You're communicating better because, of course, for you to work with people, you need to be able to collaborate, right? So you need to find a way whereby you work with people from diverse backgrounds, like you figure out how to solve a task together. And these are some of the soft skills, collaborative skills that you build. So as you are using some of these methods, you're building both your technical skills, but also building your soft skills. Open source projects. Open source projects are, fun fact, a lot of the the frameworks that are in some of your programming languages that a lot of the engineers use came as a result of open source projects. So what are open source projects? Open source projects are projects whereby you can view, use, and contribute to the original idea of the project. You can adopt it for use. Like it's open to the public. I wouldn't say anybody really owns it, right? It's open to the public. That means you can adopt it, you can view it, you can improve on it. And these are ways that you can build skills because you are writing code, right? It's one thing for you to learn about data structures, learn about algorithms, learn about design, but if you don't practicalize it, like it's only going to go thus far, right? Open source projects, contributing to open source projects helps you practicalize it because you actually write code. You're literally contributing to the code base, right? A lot of folks that are on platforms like GitHub, GitLab, SourceForge are very, very big on open source because that's where a lot of their codes are. uh there's something called the repository, like they put in a lot of the codes there, right? And these are the ways that you contribute to open source, right? You look at someone else's code, you use it for yourself. If there's a way that you can improve it, you improve it, you upload it to the repository, and a lot of people adopt it, right? You can also use Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow is not an open source site, but a lot of the codes there can be used, right, for your personal or your professional project, really. Like I said earlier, you can check out GitHub, GitLab, SourceForge for a lot of open source projects. There are a bunch of that. There are a bunch of open source projects that you can contribute to. A lot of the frameworks that we use in some programming languages as a result of open source contributions. So, in fact, a lot of companies like Microsoft, we encourage people to get into open source programming, right? Like we encourage people to contribute to open source because it's good knowledge. Like it's knowledge that the next person might find very useful. So these are ways that you build it. Like we have hired, I personally have hired people. When I see open source contribution, like some of the projects that some engineers have contributed open source, and I check it out, and I like, on their CV, right? It's definitely an encouragement for me to want to talk to this engineer a little further, right? Another way is internships, right? The good thing about this is that a lot of these approaches, right, prepare you for either full-time opportunities or even internships. So don't look at it as it's a one, you have to do one to land the best job. Think about it as one stage takes you, for example, you start competitive programming, right? That gets you into a door of a company that it's probably looking for an intern, right? Because you have that skills of writing CS, like writing algorithms, data structures. A company that is looking for like an intern would be open to speaking to you if you meet the internship criteria. For example, some companies have um, very strict university-based criteria. You have to be in school, etc. There's some companies that, hey, whether you're done with school or not, like they would have you start up as an intern. So depending on the criteria, but for example, a competitive programming skill gets you to the door of a recruiter who's recruiting an intern. A lot of that's some of the things that even early in career recruiters look out for, because of course, as you're when especially when we are recruiting people that are interns, we don't really expect them to have gotten a job opportunity. Like the internship is supposed to open them wide to a job opportunity, but what will make them stand out from the next person that has this same theoretical experience or this same theoretical knowledge is what? Competitive programming. So competitive programming allows you get into the door of an internship opportunity, right? So back to what I was saying about internship, right? Like internship is pretty much like a short-term job opportunity that a lot of organizations offer early in career people, um, pretty much to give them the opportunity to build real work experience. So they are not just looking at how great that they're not just looking at how great you are with your technical skills. They're looking for soft skills too, right? They are also giving you the opportunity to learn both technical and or soft skills, right? A lot of our early career folks that we've hired probably started out with internships, right? And they became full-time engineers. Some of them, right? Some of them, some of the early career folks that we've hired are maybe fresh out of school that have previously done internships. My point is you cannot underestimate the effect of having like a good internship experience because it opens doors for you. So as I was saying earlier, make sure that you're thinking through what will make you stand out, because the job market is very, very, very competitive. So it's more than just I've learned data structures. I've gone to XXX bootcamp. They've taught me about Python. It is now, what are you doing with this theory? How are you translating it to skills that we recruiters are looking out for, right? And these are some of the ways that you can transfer that theory into core skills. Internship is a very, very, very good opportunity for that. Also, some people might not have opportunities to intern in an organization, right? But that should not limit you, right? Another way, irrespective of whether you have an internship opportunity or not, is working on personal projects, right? I always say something that don't wait for opportunities to come look for you. Go look for opportunities. My first official job, I remember when I got back from school in from the UK, right? after my master's. I had no job. I had no job skills, but I knew I needed to look for job skills. The first thing I did was to volunteer, and I volunteered in a management consulting company, like a one-man sole proprietorship management consulting company, right? For some time before I started earning money, before I got like a full time, before I got like an internship and I got a full time job. My point is, you can walk. You don't have to go. You don't have to wait for an opportunity to come knocking on your door. Go and look for an opportunity, even if it means volunteering. Like you can partner with maybe a mentor in the field that you're looking out for and work on personal projects with this your mentor. Or you can sit down and think about it that, you know what, okay, I've learned UI UX or I've learned XXX. Let me build something. It could be your personal website. I have a cousin of mine in one of these boot camps, and is literally building my personal website as a as I would say as a pet project for himself. So of course, once he starts to build his CV, once he starts to apply for job, him building my personal website and when it goes live is something that he can put on his CV that he worked on it. And what does that do? What does that do? Irrespective of whether you have a formal job experience, that shows that you've applied the theory that you've learned, you've applied it to look to fit something practical. Now, this practical thing or this little project that you've done might be good enough for it might not it might or might not be good enough for a big tech company, but it would be good enough for a job, right? So you don't have to literally start from a big tech, right? Some people have that luck, right? They learn a skill, they start to build their skills, and they land their first job in a place like Microsoft, in a place like Google, right? Some people don't have that luck. Some people literally have to start building, then maybe work in another place, then work in another place, and they keep building on the skills, then land a job in a big tech companies. Different people with their different process. But my point is, personal projects are a way of you applying the theoretical things that you've learned into practical. Right. I know of an engineer that she is a senior front-end engineer now, but at the time that she started her career, she literally she went to one of those boot camps and used the skill to build a personal website for herself. Right, she applied for a job, and one of the hiring managers saw it and asked her questions on how she went about building it, and she got the job by just building a personal website. She had not done a prior internship. It's just by building a personal website. So my point is, make sure that you are applying what you're learning in theory. It doesn't have to just be in a formal setting. Like think of a project or think of a problem that you want to use technology to solve. It might not be a big problem. It's just you using technology, taking a problem from A and giving a solution that takes the system from A to about B, right? It doesn't have to be too big or too elaborate, right? Especially for entry level, they're not looking for you to have built like a very large scale product. No, they're just looking for how you have applied your theoretical skills to practical, and see if you have good enough agility to join the team. And of course, you have time to ramp up. Also, I talked about volunteering and also freelancing opportunities. Freelancing, like working for free, volunteering, like volunteering on a friend's personal project. Just telling, maybe, for example, you have a mentor that's working on the project, and you're like, you know what, please, I've learned these skills. Let me work on this project with you. You're just like, you're an intern, but you're probably a volunteering intern. Like they're not paying you, especially if the person doesn't have the budget for you. Now, this is not me encouraging of advocating for free labor, no. Um, but this is me just saying that if you have the opportunity to volunteer to learn better skills, if you think it's a good enough opportunity and it's worth it, it's a way for you to build practical skills, right? And there are a lot of freelancing websites, right, whereby you can work for companies, right, freelancing, or you can even work for individuals around the world. Some of them are Upwork, Favor, and trust me, they give very good experience based off of that. Resume, basic. So it's one thing for you to build your skills, it's another thing for you to be able to sell the skills on paper. So the first um, point of contact between you and a recruiter is your CV or your resume. And if it's not good enough, like you might be such a very strong talent, but because I don't know you personally, I can't attest to that. So your CV is what, or your resume is what is going to show me that you're so solid, right? And basic resume basics, right? Elements that your resume should have, 1 to 2 pages, right? Neatly formatted, no typos, right? Because some of these ATSs have like Grammarly that picks up things, right? Or like grammatical errors rather. Contact information, your email, your phone number. You don't have to put your house address, and make sure that you put in your graduation date if you're done with school. If you're still in school, make sure that you indicate there. It doesn't stop recruiters from reaching out, especially when we have internship opportunities. Also, make sure, like I said earlier, include your university degree if you have, internship and work experience if you do have, programming languages and relevant uh, coursework. Also, um, if you built an app, if you're on GitHub, very important that software engineers be on GitHub, because GitHub is one of the literally the best code repository platforms in the world, right? Also, if you have any leadership experience that you can share, maybe you're part of the XXX computer clubs, something that it's worth sharing. I think I missed out on some things, and I will just go back very quickly, especially to the part of internships, right? How do you know when a company is looking for interns? It's usually on their career site. It's published on, or is marketed on job portals, professional network like LinkedIn, developers network like Stack Overflow. So make sure that you're checking those communities out. Also, I would really encourage people to join the student and the student clubs in school, because that's a good way that even a lot of organizations that like this um, um, recruit interns, right? We have our Microsoft Student Ambassador. That's a very fantastic club that if you're still in school and you can join, right? We pass out a lot of information about what's happening in the development center and how some of our student ambassadors and also other students can benefit from it, right? Apart from students ambassadors, there are like other clubs by some of the competitors like the Google Developers Club, right? Bloomberg has they have some clubs in some campuses, right? So these are clubs that you can join. And these clubs, the good thing is that they have tutors that teach them um, a lot of these algorithm skills, and some of these clubs have access to core mentorship from core experienced software engineers. So it's a good way that you can network and link and get and build some of the skills. Yeah. So this is a sample resume. No, so this is not a resume, if you get what I mean. This is just a resume that contains a lot of things that recruiters look out for. For example, education, the bachelor's degree, the GPA, the coursework, right? Also professional experience. This person interned at awesome company XXX and built infrastructure XYZ, etc. And what they achieved, they increased the automation accuracy by 25%. These are some of the things that you need to include on your CV, what you worked on and how that impacted the entirety of the product, right? Also, if they had the opportunity to lead a team, also their personal projects, Henry the robot, the language that they use, what Henry the robot is about, also their leadership experience, etc., and the skills that they use. So this is a very decent, um, I'll say, element of a CV, right? There it's pretty much the content Like they are very, very good examples of software engineering CVs online. Don't copy, just use that to structure your CV. I will not, when I mean don't copy, I mean don't plagiarize, right? But use that to structure your CV. Look at how a typical good software engineer CV is, and try to build skills like that and use that for your CV. There are a lot of, I always encourage candidates to use CV templates. There are a lot of CV templates. I will not say use. There's some that are free. There's some that are paid for. Right. This CV templates helps you to structure your CV in a way that when you submit it in the ATS can easily pick it up. Right. So you don't want a CV that when you submit it, the ATS can't read. Right. And they disposition your application and it's disposition the application immediately. Right. So that's it. And yeah, I think I'm done. Baba, today your hand is up. Maybe you want to take questions? Thank you. If you have any questions, happy to take them.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Tejumade. And I mean, so I'd raised my hand because I wanted to call your attention to time. I know that there could probably be a number of questions that people want to, that people would want to ask. But really, thanks so much for taking time to share, I mean, the additional resources and also for providing some guidance. And so I'm going to hand over. So normally for people who probably who have joined the sessions in time past, they might be used to some of our rituals or some of our practices in the sense that one of us, Oluwamuyemi, would normally manage the question and answer sessions. But yes, we are a team, so he's currently on leave, and so he sends his regards to everybody. And delightfully, Shifumi is helping to moderate the questions and answers for this period. So I will hand over back to Shifumi so she could lead us through the sessions. I think there are probably a number of questions. There are also a number of people who had raised their hand. So for the ones that share for me would probably just nudge me so then I could give them the access to turn their microphone and maybe turn their microphone on. So over to you,
Yeah.
Shafi.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Tejumade, for everything you shared today. I also had my Jotta's writing, and I totally agree to the open source. We actually held an open source session sometime this year actually. So just to confirm that open source is actually a really good one to contribute to. So the way I'm going to take it about today is that I have just sort of two questions, same person. So one question in the Q&A. And I noticed that Erica has also responded to some questions in the chat. And I see that we have how many hands up? Just two hands up. So I'm going to switch between that. So three hands up. Right now, I'll note just the first three. So Tajmani, the first question, same person, so I'll sort of merge it together at the same time, is basically how to demonstrate a growth mindset in an interview without stating generic statements like I am ambitious. Like how do you, so growth mindsets, we both understand what it means, but they're saying, how do I say that? What are probably the right ways to phrase it without saying I am resilient, I am always looking to learn or looking towards the future outside of what has been, and then outside of what has been described on the website, how can they prep to stand out in an interview process? So that's one question.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. So I think some of the subsequent sessions that we're going to be taking would be digging very deeply in how to prep for interviews, but of course I'll answer this question. So if you go through our current site, you know what growth mindset means. Growth mindset means you have that learning or the mind to always pick up learnings, right? Like you have that learning capacity and you have that culture of lifelong learning. Like you can take feedback, you can learn from your mistakes and you can move. Like you are always open to learning, right? And it's like the attendee posted, right? It's not just about saying you're resilient. It's about you giving good examples that says that you're resilient, right? Especially for behavioral questions, not just for growth mindset, but behavioral questions basically, right? You you have to structure it in a way that you give an example, and that's how you prepare. So I always encourage candidates, think about when you read through some of our career site and and they say things like, and you see on the career side things like growth mindset, adaptability, right? You're not supposed to just read it. You're supposed to use it to think about how you display growth mindset. So an example would be, for example, let's say you're in school and you have been given, you work with, of course, you're in school, you have some coursework, right? And you're probably graded, right? You take this feedback, but you see this is just topic of mind example, right? Maybe you've gone through courses and you've been graded, and it's not very, very fantastic, right? One way to display, or one way to show that you have had growth mindset is what did you do after that? Did you decide that, oh, okay, you're going to do more learnings, right? You've taken that feedback from your let's say lecturer, and you've added it to improve your learnings, right? Are you doing more learnings? Are you in more prep calls, etc.? So to answer your question, it's not by saying you're resilient, it's by showing examples of how you have developed this growth mindset, right? Case in point, let me use myself as an example, right? There was a day, not necessarily in Microsoft, but there was a time that I had a colleague that gave me a feedback on maybe I wasn't as collaborative as they thought I would be, right? What did I do? I took that feedback, right? And I decided to um, volunteer more on projects, right? I decided to collaborate more with people, right? And during one of my interviews with the company, right, I showed that example. I used that example to show that I have displayed growth mindset. One thing that one thing I would encourage candidates to use, especially when they are structuring their behavioral based questions, is to use the STAR method. The STAR method is an acronym that helps you um, structure your questions for behavioral questions, your answers for behavioral questions. S is for situation, T is for task, A is for action, and R is for result. So, for example, I want to answer a question on how I feel growth mindset, right? How I was able to improve myself, right? You know what? The situation was, oh, I wasn't very collaborative. That's the feedback. The task was, oh, okay, I needed to be the task was to do things to make me better, right? To collaborate better. The action is, oh, this is what I did. And the result is, oh, I probably became more collaborative. And that feedback, or that opportunity to want to learn more, has led to an improved skill that led to a desired result. So you cannot answer, or you cannot grow skills like soft skills like growth mindset just doing it alone. Like, you have to pretty much put yourself out there to learn the skills, right? And you do that by feedback, right? And during the interviews, when you want to talk about your experience in building growth mindset, you use some of the situations in the past. I'll advise professional situations, right? It could be in school, it could be in internship, etc., on how you have displayed growth mindset, right? Starting from where you were, the situation, to where you are right now, showing clear results on how you displayed growth mindset. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you. And I also
Yeah.
see that all the questions. Thank you to Erica. She's answering the questions in the chat room. I have a question that if I'm proficient in C++, Python, JavaScript, Java, and maybe a few, to get into Microsoft or any big tech company, must I build projects with all of these languages? Now, before you go ahead, I just wanted to say that there are 6 hands already. We have
Okay.
just 8 minutes towards the end of the call, and I'd like
Okay.
us to take at least the first 3. So, yes, right.
Okay. Cool. You do not have to build projects with all of these languages. But for you to indicate that you are proficient, it means that you have at least very good, strong knowledge about it. But it doesn't necessarily mean that all your projects, you have to have each project in each of the languages, right? It probably means that some of them you have good skills and experience, and some are just probably knowledgeable skills in, like, pretty much theory. So you do not have to have projects in all of the languages. But I always say that put in the languages that you can defend the interviews. Don't put in a language that you just probably just read about or took like 2 classes on, right? If you cannot answer a question on it, I'd rather you not put it in your CV, right? But yeah, to answer your questions, you don't have to have built projects in all of those languages.
Okay. Thank you, Babatunde. Can you please unmute Ogona? Ogona, please, can you make your question very brief? Ogona, you have the floor now.
Okay. I want to ask because sometimes I see where people say about resume that you should type it with Microsoft Word and save it in PDF. Some persons say use templates. So I'm confused. Like I don't know which one to go for.
Sorry, I don't get your question. Can you come again?
Writing your resume. Some persons say you should type it with Microsoft Word and save it in PDF. Some persons say you should use a resume template. So I want to know which is best or which is the proper one to use.
So I would say go for the ATS friendly templates. Like go for the ATS friendly methods, right? Because that's the one that is going to be visible to us anyways. So why I would encourage you use a template is because it's already designed, it's already they're like very clear globally accepted formatting that ATS tools like ours or other companies would accept. Do you understand? Like if you start it from Microsoft, well, not to say that it won't accept it, right? But you never know the kind of ATS that you're dealing with. So I would say to be on the safe side, go with ATS friendly templates. There are a bunch of them online. So just bing them and check out the one that fits the most and use them. Yeah. It does not eliminate you from using Word, but make sure that that is also very ATS friendly. ATS friendly.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, Ogona. Next to Chris. Chris, let's take your question. Please make it very brief.
Hello, everyone. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Thank you so much for this wonderful section. I'm so happy to be here, actually. I'm not a software engineer. I'm a program/product manager, but I'm excited to be meeting HR of Microsoft. So please, I want to ask a question. One, are there communities for non-tech roles? I mean, graduate communities for non-tech roles regarding Microsoft, because I know some companies have like communities where it's so easy, where Microsoft stuffs are being shared, content, job infos and stuff like learning stuffs and are being shared. Then the second thing is Microsoft has like a recruitment cycle, more like this a particular time they recruit for this, because I follow them on LinkedIn and lots of job posting every. So they are there like specific period they share this job informations and what roles are available at that particular time. And also, are there like internship roles as well, right? Are there, because by all means, even if it's an intern, right? And the final question is, when are we going to look out for sections like this for program/product managers? Non-tech roles. So that's my last question. Program like this.
Okay. So for the non-tech roles and more information on programs like this, I would allow Shifumi and Babatunde to talk about it because they're the organizers. So if they say we need you to talk, we would find ways to talk. So, but of course, they're the organizers. They're the ones driving this. In terms of other communities that from like Microsoft communities that are for non-tech talents. I strongly believe that they are, right? But maybe due to the focus of our roles, right, they are more engineering tech talents, right? But of course, there are definitely Microsoft communities whereby you can join and learn more information about Microsoft and what we're doing, right? But I'll say if you want a lot of our information, please, we have a blog whereby you can go online and check, right? We also have a career site if you want information about the roles that are up. For the roles to be up, it means that we want external candidates to apply. So for more information about roles, our career site is the best that you can check. You can just add it to you can just bookmark our career site on your web page, right, and open it periodically. So you also asked about if Microsoft like the recruiting cycle from Microsoft, I would say that we recruit round the clock. However, recruiting might be different in different regions, right? For example, in right now we are aggressively hiring in Egypt, right? Tomorrow it could be in Nigeria. Next tomorrow it could be in Kenya, or it could be all done concurrently. It depends on what the development center in our regions need at that point. So I would say we recruit round the clock. I would still also refer you to our career site. Go through our career site. All our roles are posted there around the world, around the globe, in all locations for Microsoft. If there's any particular location that you're looking for, hopefully it's Nigeria, just check out the roles there. Some weeks ago, we had our internship roles up. You can still check it out if it's still up. If it's not up, it means that we're not accepting applications anymore. But please, whether an internship opportunity is up right now or it's a full time, just make sure that you keep tabs on our career site. Also, like I said, we have blogs. Also, I strongly believe that we have like the ADC blog or channel whereby we communicate a lot of the hiring or a lot of our activities on that channel. We have a professional network LinkedIn whereby we post a lot of our activities there. So yeah, I hope I answered all your questions. There were like 4 or 5 in one.
Yes, I
Yes,
yeah. I
Okay.
believe you did. Just to also add that yes, we have our meetup page where each partner will be showing at the end of this call, where we also engage on different things. One of the things on our calendar is actually to talk about the non-technical roles, where I myself will share my experience. I'll also be having sessions with technical product managers, technical program managers, who some people call product managers, and non-technical roles within the tech space, not even ADC, and we'll probably even bring our other colleagues from other Microsoft arms, right? So yes, there'll be more sessions to that, and we hope that you join when there is time for that. I also saw a question on the chat, and I'll just answer to say, what programming language would you advise newbies to learn first? So when you say newbies, I'm assuming that this is postgraduate. You studied something else totally different from that. Sometimes I don't think there's a one answer for which one to start from. There are different ways to choose different programming languages. Some programming languages are similar in nature. It's also the one that you have the immediate access to, maybe through a paid training, or you have a free resource training or stuff. I would recommend also that you check what is more used within the sector that you're interested in, or used within the roles or the kind of stuff. Basically, for us at Microsoft, we are programming language agnostic. There are different people that come on board with different programming languages: Python, C++, C#, Java. One thing that I do know, and that's because I also work with universities, is that if you learn any programming language, if you get a job in another company and they require you to use a different programming language on the job, because you learned the first one very well and you know what you're doing, you can easily cross over to a different language. So that's why you will see that anybody who is working professionally probably will have more than one programming language on their CV, because the one they probably learned in school or post-school, they still have the knowledge of that, and they were able to transfer what we call transferable skills to the project work. So if you probably work on a Windows project at Microsoft, you probably be working with C#, C++, or JavaScript, or a mixed reality. We also have been with Python. So really, the question is not, I would say whatever you do it well, because as far as you are good at it, you can be transferred to any other opportunity that arises for you. So because I said there is no time, so I would please implore Chiamaka, Zachary, you and Emmanuel to type in their questions right now so we could try and answer it, because I'll be able to take only Namdi before, or maybe if I can indulge to say we have 3 minutes more. So Inamdi, please, your question. If you have time, we'll take more questions. If not, please type in your chat. I'll read it out, and then we can get them to respond.
Yes,
so,
thank you very much.
Ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. You made mention of schooling also. What about people that are just with high school diploma, that YS certificate or something, and probably they didn't, maybe they didn't go to the university, or they didn't study something that is related to computer science? Can we completely omit the aspects of education, or we should just only add the qualifications that we have on our CV? That's question number one. And question number two, I'm a front-end engineer myself, and I don't know if Microsoft is heavy on data structures and algorithms when they are hiring for front-end engineers, which is also another question. Then the third one is like something like writing experiences or some other skills that one may have by the side. Is it like, does it give an edge maybe to applications? Does it give you maybe something like an edge when applying to maybe to get a call back from recruiters or something? That's my question. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you, thank you for that question. So I'll start with the front end data structures etc experience. So if you're a software engineer, you would write data structures algorithms, right? However, there are also some like interviews that are tailored to more front end skills, right? But of course, you will still write algorithms. That's like pretty much standard for all software engineers coming in, right? Even if you are like even a data engineer, you will still write code as far as you're an engineer. So you asked two more questions. Can you repeat yourself?
Yes, the second question is on schooling. For someone that
Okay.
just has,
Okay, so
someone that probably has just a secondary school certificate, or you didn't do a university degree that is in computer science, something that is completely unrelated.
okay, so as far as we are compliant with the labor laws and of course the regulations with NYC, etc., we are good, right? What that means is, for example, if you have an OND, you don't have an HND, right? Of course, and that means you can't go for NYC because you are you, right? If you are out of high school, yeah, out of high school, but you've not gone to the uni, but you have like very good skills, and of course you meet the age requirement, you meet all the requirements for hiring, both the labor laws, the local labor laws, and our requirements. You're good to be hired. We have like not we in Microsoft, but I've had the opportunity to hire like adults that maybe dropped out of school and they have all the skills that they're looking out for, right? In terms of education background that is not in software engineers, to be honest, like I said, it doesn't really matter, right? What really education is important, but what really matters is your core technical skills. Like I said earlier at the beginning of the call, I've hired a self-taught engineer that literally studied nothing related to computer science or software engineering, but had the skills, and we hired her as an engineer here. So it doesn't really matter.
Yes, one more thing. Do we need to include it in our resumes? Like, is it important? Can we just leave out that part, or?
So I don't that part doesn't hurt. Put it there, right? But also put the skills that you're selling, right? Like if you have an educational, like a BSc or an MSc, but in a totally different course, like maybe hotel management, put it there. That's an educational qualification. It shows us that you've gone through the four walls of university, which still counts for something, right? But of course, that's not the key thing that we look out for. Like I said earlier, we look out for the skills. So even if you have a PhD in software engineering and you do not have the skills that we're looking for, not to qualify you. My point is the skills that are the most important, not just the educational qualification. So yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tejumade. As I begin to wind down, the question from Zachariu is that what's your advice on learning multiple skills? By skills, it means, so it's not referring to programming languages, referring to maybe different types of frameworks or learning, okay, I've learned software engineering. Now, listen to the word, I think what I'm catching here is the word that learning software, so whatever you learn, focus on software engineering and data analysis and cloud engineering, like multiple fields like that. What are your thoughts about that?
So there's something called the unicorn. Like we always look out for unicorn engineers. The more skills you have, the better. The more skills you have, the better for you, the better for us, the better for the ecosystem, right? So keep learning. Like there's no max on learning, right? As far as it doesn't, if your brains are okay, you're good, right? I would say continue learning. Like I've had a situation where I've had like I had in my one of my past places that I worked, past employment places that I worked, we were looking for a unicorn that had core software engineering skills, but also worked a bit in data engineering, right? Like they wanted someone that codes but also does big data, right? That's a unicorn skill. So of course, like if you have it, why not? Like there's nothing that blocks you. There shouldn't be any glass ceiling for learning, right? So the more skills you learn, the better. But make sure that as you're learning, like you're balancing it out. Don't leave your core skills for what you're learning, and you're not good in the others in the main skill that that you're employed for. So make sure that you balance it out. But the more you learn, the better for you, to be honest.
Okay, so thank you so much, everybody, for sharing your time with us. Can you guys please clap? I'm sure you have your clap emoji and she can see it when you clap. Just saying thank you to Teju for this session, for
Thank
taking our
you.
time with us. We do have questions for you that I'd like you to please look at in the chat session before we round up this session. And everything that you shared today, I know that is very beneficial. I know that, it will be information that they can take back when they are making decisions about how to learn, how to grow their skills, or how to even position themselves better going forward. Before we leave, and Babatunde has something else to share with everyone. I did notice that I've had questions about what programming language should I start with? Which one should I do first? I'm a C++ person, but I also know this and all of that. We do have a session coming up in 2 weeks' time. It's really about one of the C languages, which is C++. And C++ is a peculiar programming language that, if I borrow the word unicorn, or like gold, that sounds something, it's like a technical that I know that if you have it, you're more like an exceptional thing. Like we've all said, most people already have more than one programming language in their portfolio, and C++ would be a good one to also have in your portfolio. So we'll be spending time in 2 weeks' time to talk about opportunities. How do you even hack it? People have so many myths about C++ as a programming language. We hope to demystify those myths. We hope to help you chart a career path. We hope to help you advise what are probably the kind of products and sectors that build with it so that you can have your eyes there. So please drop your questions right now in the chat room. We have Teju and Erica responding to every other thing that we're not able to take while I hand over the mic to Babatunde. Thank you, guys, and pleasure spending this time with you. Babatunde, over to you.
Awesome. I mean, it's been a great evening. And I know that I know that Tejo had already tried to maximize the time. So this is me saying on behalf of everyone, thank you so much for joining us today for this session. And to everyone on the call as well, I'm sure you probably would have gained one thing or the other. I would like to say thank you to Erica, thank you to our other folks on Microsoft side who had also decided to join and also contribute to the success of this edition of the ADC Launch Series. I'm going to be sharing my screen right now just to give you some links that are quite important as we wrap up for today. So right on my screen, you do have a number of links. The very first one that you have is the registration link for the next ADC Learn series. So this is going to be on the 28th of October, which is exactly a fortnight from now. And so it's https aka.ms/hack C++. And so the way we have designed the ADC Learn series is to make sure that whether you are core into tech as a software engineer, you're a product manager, or you're even doing something around low code, no code, there's going to be at least 2 sessions for you to be able to benefit from. So this next session is actually looking targeted at developers, targeted at students, and even those that are looking at growing or expanding their portfolio into C++. An opportunity for you to learn about what opportunities exist for those who have special skills or they are specialized or expertise when it comes to C++. What kind of growth trackers can you begin to look out for, and even come and listen to people at Microsoft on how they use C++, on their day-to-day basis. I've also put the second link there, which is for the YouTube page. So typically what we do is to make sure that you could have recordings to our sessions, to our programs, even programs that you probably did not attend, programs that you're probably not aware of. So you could always go to the site to the YouTube site and check on the channel, you could see all of those previous videos, and that will be a good opportunity for you to catch up in case you had missed out on any part in the program before then. Last two links that you see on the screen, one practically, the last link on the screen is practically for our community. So we do have the meetup community, and our community is not for just for updates alone, which means that when you go to the community, it's a place for you to be able to start up discussions. So you have a question particularly around something that you're trying to get insights from people in the industry. That could be a very good space for you to drop your questions. That could be a good space for you to get additional insights that could be beneficial or helpful in the kind of work that you're trying to do. So I encourage you, if you're not part of the community yet, to go to the community. That's the link on the site. I will try as much as possible to also drop those links on the chat space so it's easy for you to be able to drop them, to reach them. So I already dropped for the YouTube. I'm just going to drop for the first one and the third one. The last thing that you can see there is actually our hashtag. And we encourage people to tell stories about their learnings and also the experiences they've had by joining the ADC Learn series. There's also a way that we also track and find. We were trying to look out for people who probably have joined the series or people who probably have had some impact, followed their attendance. We normally would search using the hashtag. So we encourage you to post your screenshots, post your testimonials, talk about what you've learned, what is the push you've gotten, or something that is sort of like an encouragement to you, and you could use the hashtag ADC Learn Series. So that will be all for my side for today. I bring you greetings once again from Oluwamuyemi, who is currently enjoying his leave. And we'd love to say a very big thank you to you for taking time to come and learn. And why we saying thank you is because it gives us the hope that yes, the ecosystem continues to get better and better by the day because people are putting in efforts to learn and people are going the extra mile, to pay for this kind of opportunities. So once again, we hope that you would have a very beautiful weekend. We hope that you continue to extend this good news to other people. Think about people in your community that should benefit from these programs and they've never heard of it, they've never been able to join. Share the link with them. It's a free program. Make sure they register for this coming one. And with that, we can reach out to them for subsequent engagement and make sure they still have the opportunity to sign up. So once again, thank you. And you have a very, very beautiful weekend. Goodbye, everyone.